This mysterious door took 28 years to open, or did you know a new UFO was discovered in Mario 64 only 1 month ago? Well, today we're looking at Mario's greatest mysteries, but are actually going to be solving them this time. Because I keep getting comments like, Detective Bits, yeah right, he doesn't solve anything. So I'm going to prove them wrong, starting with the alien rocket mystery. If you look through the binoculars at the very start of Mario 3D Land's level 2-1 and immediately pan to the top left, you can catch a brief glimpse of a rocket ship blasting off. At first, no one really knew what this rocket was or what significance it had to the Mario lore, until I found a very low-key YouTube video in French that Silver Steelclaw commented on one of my videos. In the video, the creator tracks a regular bird flying away. When the bird gets too far from the camera, it triggers a launching away despawn animation, and that animation is the exact same visual as the alien rocket. So this isn't actually a rocket at all. It's just a bird that quickly despawns right when the level starts. Now that's just the first mystery, and we're gonna build up to the bigger ones later. But for now, we have a pretty interesting mystery in Mario Sunshine that somehow flew under the radar for over 20 years. It revolves around these strange symbols scattered across a bunch of different stages. Despite being a huge secret, they appear almost everywhere, on wooden signs, old stone engravings, and even flags. For decades, players completely overlooked these weird markings, assuming they didn't mean anything. That is, until 2024, when a user named 2C Phoenix released a video uncovering the truth behind them. It turns out these symbols are a fully fleshed out secret language native to Isle Delfino, and the entire alphabet was decoded, revealing what all these signs say now. For example, the sign in front of the swinging ship ride translates directly to Viking. The entrance to the theme park translates to Parco, which is Italian for park, or the beach sign in Gelato Beach simply reads Bar Gelato. Those are just a few highlights, but since all of this hidden text can now be fully translated, finally puts this mystery to rest. This next one was found when people dug further into the files of Mario 64 during the Nintendo Giga Leak, where they found something odd. It's this unused sprite of an animated Yoshi egg, however, nobody knew its intended function. So fans started to wonder if Yoshi was originally going to be a rideable power-up like Mario World, or was it something simpler, like maybe you had to break him out of his egg when he appears atop the castle. However, many years later, the community finally pieced this mystery together. It was discovered that this wasn't a Yoshi egg, but rather an egg for Hoot the Owl. Players realized that this egg only coded to appear in levels where Hoot was present. Plus, when looking closer at the code, the file name itself was called bird_egg, which wouldn't make sense for a Yoshi. So it looks like initially, Hoot was meant to hatch from this egg rather than being found hiding in a tree. It's possible the developers scrapped the egg entirely so players wouldn't get confused and expect a Yoshi inside. Now, we'll tackle the big mysteries like secret UFOs or what's behind unopenable doors later in this video, but first, let's look at a few more basic ones. You know, it's actually pretty fun solving all these mysteries as a detective. You guys should try solving some mysteries yourself. Only problem is, it can be pretty hard to find old games like Mario 64. Luckily, there's Whatnot to help you out. Now, Whatnot is the #1 live stream shopping app where you can buy, sell, or auction literally anything, like retro games, modern games, electronics, Pokemon cards, sneakers, books, sports cards, clothes, bags, comics, or even food. There's so many categories, I can't even keep track of it. They just have everything. Like, for example, I want to look at some Wii games here. And yeah, Mario Kart Wii, I'm definitely getting that. Now, I'll need a console to play it on, so let's look at the auctions and go to retro games. Okay, let's see what this guy's selling. Yeah, he's got consoles. Good. But what's cool about this app is you can message the seller in real time. Special edition Nintendo consoles in box? ?
Special edition Nintendo consoles in the box. Yes, I got plenty.
Oh, here we go. He brought out the Wii U Splatoon Special Edition for me. I gotta get this. Now, all I have to do is swipe to bid just like that. And okay, my bid's in. And boom, sweet. Looks like we got it. We got the Special Edition console. You can use my link in the description or scan the QR code to get $15 off your first purchase. And if you follow me on Whatnot using my links, then you will be automatically entered to win $500 in Whatnot credit to spend on whatever you want in the app too. You can buy so many video games with that. The winner will be picked in 1 month. So go check it out, and thank you Whatnot for sponsoring this video. Now, Wet Dry World is an unsettling sort of stage that I seem to keep coming back to in these mystery videos. One element that really adds to this eerie atmosphere is the skybox. It features a strange, mysterious city that seems completely out of place for a Mario game. Naturally, players began to track down the origin of this image to see where it was actually taken. For the longest time, everyone was convinced the photo was sourced from Casares, Spain, due to the incredibly similar architecture. But this mystery couldn't be solved quite that easily. As years went on, fans noticed the buildings just wouldn't line up exactly right. This caused some fans to keep on searching for the source, in which they discovered the main photo was actually of Shabam Yaman. A YouTuber by the name Charlie CN even made a video overlaying the real town perfectly on top of the game's skybox to prove that it is the exact same image. On top of that, it was also discovered that the castle structure near the top of the background is actually the Mosque of Muhammad Ali, located in Cairo, Egypt, finally solving the mystery behind this image. And another mystery I have is why only 5% of viewers are actually subscribed. Let's see if you can solve that by increasing those percentages. It also just helps me out a ton. Thanks. Now, back in 2010, a player dug into the code of Mario Galaxy and he discovered a pretty terrifying unused creature. It's known as the dragon head flower, and it looks a lot like a baby piranha plant, just massive in size with a really intimidating presence. For the longest time, its true purpose remained a complete mystery that players just couldn't solve, because every time they tried to load it into a level, the game would instantly crash. Eventually, they learned that the creature needed a specific path set in the code to load properly, but even then, that didn't give anyone answers. The object was incredibly hard to interact with. You couldn't even get close to it. So figuring out if this was meant to be an NPC, an enemy, or something else entirely was still impossible, which only dragged out the mystery. Then, after some more time, there was another breakthrough. People discovered that Mario couldn't interact with the flower on his own. He actually had to be riding the star ball from those rolling ball levels in Mario Galaxy. When players finally tested this out, they found that the flower would suck Mario in, then spit him out to another part of the stage. This perfectly explained why players needed to set a path for the flower to get it to load in the first place. It needed somewhere to shoot Mario to. This meant the mysterious dragon flower wasn't an enemy or an NPC at all. It was likely just an early concept used to launch Mario to different sections of the rolling ball levels before being swapped out in the final game. And it makes a lot of sense why they changed it. You really wouldn't expect a giant, terrifying flower to help you out, whereas rolling a ball into a hole is a natural fit, kind of like a weird game of golf. In Super Mario 64, there are literally dozens of doors scattered throughout the castle and in its various worlds. Now, that might seem like an incredibly random detail to point out, but I am going somewhere with this, because the common element between all of them is that you can actually open all these doors. However, there is one single exception in the entire game where this action is practically impossible: the unopenable door in Cool Cool Mountain. You see, if you successfully race down the game's ice slide, you'll end up inside a small wooden cabin at the bottom of the mountain. You can easily leave this cabin by walking through the exit door, but once you're outside, you can't go back in through that same door. Over the years, this drove fans crazy. It caused players to spend hours trying everything they could to open it, wildly speculating about what unseen mysteries could be hiding behind the door frame. But getting back inside was no easy task. Players quickly realized that there was an invisible wall placed directly in front of the door's exterior, completely blocking Mario from getting close enough to even interact with it. As further developments progressed, people ended up using the giant mama penguin, luring her over to try and push Mario through that invisible wall into the door. Unfortunately, this was unsuccessful, as Mario would just be pushed down the mountain to his death. Players had to think of new solutions, and what they eventually found was that Mario's turnaround animation was the key to getting inside. Basically, the penguin push was failing because it put Mario into a free-fall state, and the game doesn't let you open doors while falling. But by triggering the turnaround animation on the exact perfect frame, it puts Mario into a grounded, moving state, which allows him to interact with doors. By combining all of these crazy techniques together, a user named Alex Palix finally managed to open this legendary door, which, as it turns out, just teleports you right back inside the cabin. It might be a slightly anticlimactic reward, but this is still absolutely crazy that this supposedly impossible door was finally cracked open after all these years. But we are not done with Cool Mountain just yet, because this next mystery revolves around the penguins in that stage, specifically the relationship between the mama and baby penguins. As anyone who has played the level Cool Mountain knows, you can find one mama penguin and two seemingly identical babies wandering around here. To get the star from her, you have to bring the mama her actual baby. If you give her the wrong one, she'll flat out reject it, getting angry and telling you that the baby isn't hers. The mystery here is if these two baby penguins share the exact same 3D model and look completely identical to us, how can the mom tell the difference? For the longest time, nobody really knew, and most players just assumed it was a standard arbitrary gameplay mechanic, right? You just have to find the specific one the game's code sees as correct. However, if you actually look at the biology of real-life penguins, you'll start to understand exactly how the mama knows which kid is actually hers. Because real penguins have a complex vocal organ that allows them to produce two different frequencies at the exact same time. This creates a completely unique acoustic vocal pattern, giving each individual penguin a distinct, personalized call that their family uses to recognize them in massive crowds. And this isn't just some random coincidence or overanalysis, since in Mario 64, those baby penguins are constantly making a crying sound as you carry them around. The developers specifically put that auditory detail in for a reason. This heavily implies that the mama penguin isn't looking for the baby at all, she is actually listening for her baby's specific distinct cry to identify it. It's a surprisingly realistic detail hidden in plain sight, proving the developers' attention to detail and resolving yet another mystery. This next mystery is one of the more fascinating ones, mostly because for the longest time there were zero actual traces of it, only rumors. This is the mysterious Jolly Roger Bay UFO. For years, there have been various obscure Reddit threads and deep dive forum posts detailing a highly specific secret method to make a UFO appear in Mario 64. But what makes this whole thing a bit eerie is that any actual media, screenshots, or videos surrounding it were seemingly deleted from the internet or lost to time. All that remained were text-based claims and elaborate instructions on how to trigger this bizarre event. One Reddit post even gave an incredibly intensive step-by-step method to summon it. Yet despite countless attempts, no one was able to actually recreate it in-game. So why were there all these claims of people saying they saw a UFO in Jolly Roger Bay then? Well, I may have a lead for this case, because recently I actually received a mysterious email linking me to a video of someone finally getting this UFO to spawn. The emailer himself even requested to remain anonymous. The footage was from a user named Goose Gamer Folklore, and they explained exactly how to get the UFO to spawn. It turns out the required steps were just incredibly precise and difficult to pull off, which is why no one has been able to recreate it in recent times. But in the end, what exactly is this elusive UFO? Is it a cut enemy or a developer Easter egg? It turns out it's just a small texture glitch that happens inside the sunken ship of Jolly Roger Bay after following these exact instructions. Basically, the game's standard water splash effects are somehow displaced to a completely different spot in the room, where they flash, overlap, and move erratically in the air. Visually, the glitch texture slightly resembles a blurry, low-resolution scan of a classic flying saucer. So while it's ultimately nothing too crazy or supernatural, this tiny graphical error definitely sparked some discussion and online rumors about the quote-unquote Jolly Roger Bay UFO. And now we come to possibly the biggest mystery in all of Mario 64. Can you actually play as Luigi? This mystery has been around for practically as long as the game itself, fueling countless schoolyard rumors and early internet forum debates. It all stems from the infamous star statue in the castle courtyard. At the base of this statue is a blurry, low-resolution plaque that players swore read, "L is real 2401." Widely interpreted to mean Luigi is real. Players tried everything imaginable to trigger his appearance, running around the statue hundreds of times, collecting all 120 stars, and attacking the fountain at specific angles. Combine that with old developer interviews hinting that Luigi was originally meant to be playable, and fans spent years wildly speculating about some mysterious hidden method to unlock Mario's brother as the second player. This remained a massive unsolved mystery for decades. That is, until 2020, when a giant leak of source code for various Nintendo games dropped online. One of those games was the original Mario 64. When fans quickly dug through the files, they found a lot of very interesting things. They uncovered a two-player icon symbol, various unused sound bites that sounded exactly like Luigi, and finally, the definitive proof, the 3D model of Luigi himself. It was later revealed that Luigi was fully intended to be a second player in a co-op mode. However, he ultimately had to be cut late in development before the game's release, due to severe hardware restrictions and memory limitations on early N64 cartridges. But the most fascinating and frankly eerie part of this entire story? The timing. This massive leak was solved in July 2020, exactly 24 years and 1 month after the original Japanese release of Mario 64 in June 1996. In other words, 2401. The exact same string of numbers written on that mysterious courtyard plaque decades prior. Coincidence or not, this incredible discovery proved that Luigi was indeed planned. He was in the files all along, and it finally puts gaming's biggest mystery to rest. Once again, don't forget to get your $15 off and enter the $500 giveaway on Whatnot by clicking my links below or scanning the QR code, and I'll see you guys later.